All righty, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for the Youth Success Request for Proposals RFP orientation. Thank you. Obviously, a lot of friends on here today. Some we haven't seen for a while, some we might have seen last week, some we're going to be on a call with afterwards. So it's just good to see all our friends here and all of the new faces that we see as well. Thank you all so much for joining us. And if you are just now joining us, you can please put your name and the organization that you are representing in the chats for attendance purposes. And so also your colleagues and fellow youth workers also know who is also with us on today. But without further ado, I will go ahead and share my screen so that we can go ahead and get started. All righty. So just to make sure everybody is in the right place, this is the Metro United Way Youth Success 7-County RFP Strategy Overview. So I think everybody had registered for this. So you got a description of what we will be doing today, but we will also go over the agenda. So for today, we're going to talk about, you're going to get to meet the Youth Success team in case you are not familiar or aware with who we are. And also talking about Metro United Way's investment redesign and how we got here, and youth success strategy, overall strategy of what we are doing in Metro United Way, and also go over the RFP application. And then at the end, we will have time for Q&A. So we want to try to get everyone out on time by 1 o'clock. So please feel free to eat your lunch or whatever it is that you may be doing or what you have. Don't let us stop you, but we wanted to kind of get a common time where most people may be free is in doing at lunchtime. All right, so without further ado, I will have TJ to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is TJ Delahanty. I'm Senior Manager for Youth Success at Metro United Way. My role within this organization is to support our youth success strategy and our network of youth service organizations.
Awesome. Thank you, TJ. And I am Antonio Redes. You most likely know me in my name from like digitally or electronically in emails, because I send out a lot of emails, do a lot of correspondence with the newsletter and also with the invites and reminders with this. So this is the face behind the name in the emails. Nice to see everyone and meet everyone. I am the manager of educational support. So I do a lot of the strategic initiatives that we have with the team, the coaching, and our staff rating and youth behavior, our SRYB work, and just overall supports for the network. Yeah, so that is us, just a team of 2. And then some of our day-to-day work that we do. So we have the Youth Success Network, which is about 90 plus partners. I think we're about 97, 98 right now. And if you are not a part of the Youth Success Network, please reach out and we will get you onboarded onto the network. We offer mental health support. So for anyone who is in the network, we have access to a kind of an EAP framework for anyone who is in the network, and also a group therapy for women of color called Sister Circle. We have data tools, a program quality assessment where we kind of we've done that for many years, and many of you have got introduced to us through that process. We have social emotional learning measurement tools, and also access to JCPS student level academic data. We have capacity building support, such as coaching, grassroots program development and grant support, and also our training and professional development, academic supports, access to tutors, tutoring support, and a tutor for certification training. So if you have any staff members that want to be certified, we have those resources available for that. And yeah, just me and TJ also are resources for you all as well. So any questions that you may have, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. All right, so now with the investment redesign. So back in 2020, Metro United Way, we started our 3-year process in a investment redesign. So we went from being transactional to transformational. And so what that looked like is we had a historical model of funding. So if we funded you back in 1990, 2002, we continue to fund you every year because it was based on the historical relationships that we have. And so we were investing in nonprofits. And so now we have shifted that and transformed that into investing in issues and solutions within the community. So it's not so much as just funding because we know you in your work, but now we are focused on what is exactly is going on in the community and how can we partner with community partners and different agencies on the specific issues and solutions towards those. So during that 3-year process, year one, we have a pool of funding. And so 80% of that pool of funding, instead of 100% going towards historical agency partners, only 80% went towards the agency partners. We also funded for our COVID-19 response. And then we also developed 2 impact areas, 2 pillars in which all of our investments were going to be centered around. And that's closing the wealth gap and closing the education gap. And so that first year we invested $1.4 million into the community, and we funded 36 organizations. And we also started to lean more towards trust-based philanthropy. And then the second year, it went from 80% to 60%. And for our historical agency partners, we continued to invest in our Impact and Innovation Fund. And that was a 2-year funding model. And that was 1.2 that was invested in that second year. We funded 26 organizations. And then we continued our work around closing the education gap and closing the wealth gap. And we also started 2 pilots, which is the Unite Us pilot and our Mayors for Guaranteed Income, which is also called YALIFT. And then we started our neighborhood-based approach, which is in the California neighborhood. And then we also did a basic needs RFP, which was called the safety net strategy. So in year 3, which is what we are in now, so 0% of our pool of funding is allocated specifically for our historical relationships with our partners. And now it is specifically and strategically going towards our specific strategies for the needs and the systemic barriers that are within the community. So we launched the safety net strategy back in 2022. We are right now launching our Youth Success RFP. We are continuing to refine our in-house strategic impact work for the closing the education gap and the wealth gap. And we are also starting strategic planning with our equity work and also growing our neighborhood strategy within the California neighborhood. All right, now, so for our youth success strategy, before we got in our strategy, we went on a kind of a summer listening tour with all of our stakeholders. There's about 200 stakeholders. Some of you were a part of that, JCPS employees, parents, young people, youth. We're all a part of this. We also did a lot of learning with trust-based philanthropy, MBW learning series, going through documents that were here locally, just to see what are the needs in the community, what is going on in the community, how can we partner, who's doing the work, what do we need to do, where is our role within the community to help close these gaps. And so with that, after we got the feedback from our partners and from the community and from those focus group, we had a question to frame things, and that is, how do we get youth from navigating failed systems to improving and creating healthy systems? Right. And so the questions are like, what does a healthy system look like? How are we investing in the success of organizations and not just programs? You know, how do we take our services and wrap them around our young people? So all of these different questions to try to get a strategy together to making sure that we are aligned with the community and to make sure that we have a plan to move forward to close the gap. And so our strategy, our youth success strategy, is to improve and co-create healthy systems that produce equitable outcomes for all young people. And so how we execute this strategy is through tools. And so equity is one of the foundational tools that we have for that. We problem solve through an equity lens and we employ equitable practices. We have a systems approach. So we use a social ecological model for when we are solving problems and how we have a lens towards the problems and the barriers within the community. We have our network, which is a collective impact approach with our youth serving organizations. We also have a lot of content experts within MUW who is able to provide wraparound supports and a lot of resources for our partners. And then visualizing our value, have to make sure that people know what's going on and that we let people see the impact. And also our youth RFP. We can't say we want to do these things without providing the resources for our partners to do that. And so our youth RFP is one of the tools to execute our strategy. So the 5 approaches and strategies that we have for closing the education gap is youth empowerment, transferable skills, youth wellness, family engagement, and academic support. So these 5 strategies are what we are going to be investing in with this youth RFP. So organizations and programs that are aligned and have some promising strategies and different innovative techniques or innovative programs for this is what we are investing in for this RFP. So with the RFP, the purpose behind it, like I said, is to advance our strategy of closing the education gap and connecting us to the community and also to our 7 counties. So if you are not familiar with Metro United Way, we serve 7 counties. So in Southern Indiana, the counties are Clark, Floyd, and Harrison. And then in Kentucky, we serve Jefferson, Oldham, Shelby, and Bullitt County. Okay, so the process with the RFP is to develop an equitable framework for implementing a pool of funds aimed at closing the education gap in our 7-county region, and for those organizations and partners who are aligned with our 5 approaches. All right, and the payoff, what we want to see at the end is for improved systems for all young people to navigate to close the education gap. All right, and so we also want to emphasize that we are practicing trust-based philanthropy. So a lot of times, applications can be burdensome, and also reporting can be burdensome. And also there's kind of like some power dynamics that are unbalanced. And so we want to balance those power dynamics. And we also want to make sure that you all are able to focus on doing the work that you are experts at doing and connecting with the communities that you already have relationships with, and not spending your time, doing all the reports and spending a lot of time on the application. So we are only asking on the application only what is necessary, and not things that we would like to know, but only what is necessary for us to evaluate and review the applications. And also we are only requiring an annual report when it comes to reporting. So it's no receipts, it's not interviews or anything like that. It's just an annual report that we ask for, and all of the other things. And also it's not just a transactional thing where we're just handing over dollars. It's support beyond dollars. So when you do get into the network, you do receive the mental health supports, the capacity building supports, and also access to the MBW ecosystem as well. All righty. So skip that one. So that is all for me. And I will now hand it over to TJ to walk us through the application process.
Thank you, Antonio. 2-step process for this 3-step process for this orientation, that overview and introduction. I am going to do my best to walk you through the actual application process, and then we will open the floor for questions. The first step in applying for the Metro United Way Youth Success grant is to request credentials to do so. And when Antonio has sent that link, and we'll put that link in the chat to request credentials. When you click the link, you will land here, which is our welcome to the agency application page. When you see that, you will complete this form, and I am requesting you will click the login credentials for the RFP site. Please fill this out completely. Don't forget to continue scrolling past this yellow box. Then there is a pull down menu which asks you what RFP you're applying for. The only one that's open is Youth Success, but you will need to click that. Then it will ask you program information, which program specifically you will be applying for funding with. And you can, at this point, that is the program contact information, not just the agency contact information. And then you will click the submit button. When you do so, that goes to one of our staff members. It is not an automated email. It actually goes to a person. Please allow them up to 1 business day to get you an email with your that will have a link to the application site and your login credentials and password, a username and password. Once you get that email, you will then be able to click the link to the application page, or you can get there through the Metro United Way website. The easy button is anywhere on the Metro United Way website. At the bottom, you can scroll to the bottom and there will be a link to open RFPs. Click that link, put in your username and password, and then log in. Once you successfully log in, you will get to the application intro page, which includes instructions. Please read those instructions. And the first thing it will tell you is to navigate the application. You will use the tabs at the top of the page. There are 4 of those. The first is agency information, which is your agency profile, agency contacts, and agency descriptions. The second are the actual RFP questions and packages, they call them. And then the third and fourth, the third is you can edit your profile where you will have your information. But I'd like to start quickly with the first main tab, which is the agency profile. When you completed your credential request, there will be some stuff that is automatically uploaded, the name of the organization, but you will need to complete the rest of it. At the bottom of each page in the process, there is a save button. We recommend highly that you save often and frequently. The second agency information are contacts. You can edit this information for your agency. You can delete folks and you can add folks. Then the third is your agency description. There are 2 types of descriptions for your agency. One is basically a 25-word description, and the other is a mission statement. And you can do 2 things. If there's one already in there, you can edit that one by pushing the edit button, or you can add one by pushing the add button. That's agency information. The main page you will see is the main part of the application process is under application packages. When you get there, you will only see most likely this Youth Success RFP. This is the meat of the application. There are actually 6 parts of this application. The first is the application questions, and the other 5 are client demographics. You must complete all of these, the questions and the demographic pieces. There are some that are just zip participants that you have served over the last year by zip code. There are 1 for each of the 7 counties. You can focus on the counties that you are serving in your application. And we will open Clark County. So what it will have is basically the zip codes in Clark County, and you will fill the number of participants you served in the last year for each of those zip codes. And when you're finished, you will click submit. And what you will notice is once you click, you can save it and it'll take you to the main page. But once you click submit, you cannot, that's the key for each. You will notice that for Clark County, it went from outstanding to completed. When you go back in there, you will see the numbers that you entered, but you will not be able to change those numbers. So it's important to understand that you can save, but once you hit submit, you cannot edit those fields within these sections of the application. All right. All the folks that are on here and folks who will view this will be able to see the questions a day before The actual application opens on Monday, the 23rd. You will notice there's some overview that's important for you to be familiar with. There are eligibility criteria and instructions. And then as you scroll down, you will start seeing the questions for the application. Top part is demographic. Ask you if you are a federally recognized tax-exempt organization. Does your CEO for your organization identify as a person of color? It asks what the annual budget for your organization is for the last fiscal year. That is for the whole organization. It's important to know. We would like to know what the organizational budget is, not the program budget. There's a place to enter your mission. We ask you all to let us know if you are a part of the United community, if you use the Unite Us platform. And the next question is how much money you are requesting. This is a 2-year grant application, and we would like you to designate how much for each of those 2 years. And now we get into the program information. The name of the program you're specifically asking to fund, what counties it serves. This is you can click as many counties as you're actually serving, so it can cover more than one county. We're asking you to identify which of the 5 strategies that program addresses. And the next one is, over the past year, what was the average daily attendance for your program? That is, average daily attendance is how many kids, if you invited us to visit your program, on average, how many kids would we see when we came there? You know, average daily attendance is different to how many kids you serve. Oftentimes we might have a roster of 100 kids, but on any given day, 60 or so are there, right? Because we know how young people in how programs work. They often have rosters and those that are bigger than average daily attendance because kids come and go, right? The next question is how many unduplicated youth does this program plan to serve within the funding request period? So, you know, that there you get to say, you know, we have a capacity of 75. Our plan is to serve 75 kids for the 2 years of the project. And then there's an opportunity to put a brief program description of telling us about your program and what it does and what you hope it to do. When did this program begin? And do you measure outcomes for the young people that participate in the program? And if you do, we would like to know specifically what kind of tools how do you measure those outcomes? And if you use specific tools to measure those, and you'll see that I pre-filled, you know, to the data tools that we offer to members of the Youth Success Network. We would like to know if your program has a cost associated to families who send students to there, and if so, what that is. This is a numeric field. So if the program costs $75 a week, you put in $75, and in the narrative box below, you tell us that's $75 a week, but we do have a sliding scale, and a full 50% of the participants that are part of our program get a discounted rate, and you could put as much details as you like in there. The next question is an important one. It is about what we call dosage. Dosage is if a young person is a part of this program and they attend every day for every hour, what is the maximum amount of program time that they will participate in? And you can, the first box is a numeric box, so you put in the number of hours, and then the text box, you explain that our program runs Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 for 32 weeks. And if a young person attends every one of those days for all their hours, it results in this program dosage, which is listed above. Let us know if you actually provide transportation to the young people that attend. That's important to us. And then there is an opportunity to let us know what else that is important for you to share with the reviewers of the grant application as they review your grant application. At this point, you are done with you're pretty much done with the application for a program. If you are applying for more than one program, there is an opportunity to apply for each organization. While they can only submit one grant application, they can include within the application request funding for more than one program. Once you click yes, it will then repeat the questions that you answered above for the programs. Once again, there is an opportunity to let us know any other important information to you for us that you want the reviewers to know. And there is only one document that you will need to attach to your application, and that is your nonprofit status letter from the IRS or letter from your fiduciary agent accepting fiscal responsibility. That is the only document that you need to submit with your application. And once again, you'll notice at the bottom of the application, there are ample opportunities to save. You click save. We recommend that highly. That saves the work that you have done. That allows you to log out, go back, and then come back in and finish your application. And once again, after each section of the application, there is a submit button. You will need to hit that submit button before when you are absolutely done with that section. And just a reminder, once you hit submit, you cannot then go back in and edit your application. I am going to save. That will get me back to the application page. And then I just want to show you, so there are the application questions. You must submit each one of these demographic pages. There's one for race, one for ethnicity, one for household income, one for individuals affected by barriers, and then one each for the 7 counties. You must complete all the ones for the counties that the program serves. If you do not serve young people for the program you're requesting funding in that county, you don't necessarily really have to complete the ones for the counties you don't serve. All right. Good. We got 25 minutes for questions. And I know you
really
guys.
Quick, TJ, can you
Yes.
show them where the that link is for the poverty or the for the demographic information that gives a reference to the poverty levels?
Yeah. So at the when you go into the application, right? Once you get to the application packages page, and the Youth Success RFP, at the very top, you will find a link for the federal poverty guidelines data. I click it and it goes to the Office of Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation, and it gives you those poverty. I know many people specifically in Jefferson County, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if you have free and reduced lunch data on the kids you serve, you can use that data for your poverty, if that's not something you collect. All right, y'all.
So there's some questions within the chat. One was, is this a first come, first serve? And no, this isn't first come, first serve. So all the applications will be reviewed as a whole. We have a committee of community reviewers who are going to review and score the application. So it's not a first come, first serve. And then I saw another question. How do you recommend reporting attendance if your services take place in the community and not in your physical office? So TJ, what do you think about that? If it's not taken, if the attendance is not reported in a physical office, but it takes place, the services take place in the community?
I assume that you know how many kids are at each event that you provide as a part of the program you're applying for funding. And you know, we trust you to use, if you don't have actual attendance numbers, we're going to trust your knowledge of your program and your best estimate. Is that does that help answer that question?
That was Jess Wells. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. All righty, continuing on. Nancy Parker, is there a minimum maximum for amount requested per year?
Right. Makes the other one redundant. So yeah, I would agree with that.
The answer to that officially is no. There is no, we are not giving you a required minimum or maximum requested. If y'all like, I could give you some background and guidance. I see head shaking, so I'll just, you know, we have $1 million for the first year of this grant application to distribute to folks that apply. I can tell you this, it will be a very competitive grant application process. I will be surprised if we get less than 100 organizations that apply. I am sure that we will get over $5 million in request. We have not set a minimum or maximum that we will allot to each organization that's successfully that gets funding. We have not set that. But so now I get from more facts to opinion. You know, I will say I'm not the one that is going to be making funding decisions. We have a set of community-based volunteers that will be reviewing applications and making recommendations, and our leadership will make final approval. I am making an educated guess or estimate that they will want to fund as many programs as feasible. I will guess that many of the successful applicants won't get everything that they asked for. And yeah, that is my educated kind of guess and background advice and guidance on that question.
All right, next question is, so is this for existing programs only, or can we propose a new program as well?
This is for all programs who apply. New, there's when you look at the questions there, I will say this, that if it's not an existing question, you're not going to have demographics for children served. You will have to go into those couple boxes narrative where we say what else you need to know, and my advice would be to be very descriptive on who you intend to serve. And I'm all, you know, for those of you all who know me, I am almost, this is absolute conjecture and opinion, is, you know, those folks who have those kids, those young people demographics within their application for the number they have served is how can I say this diplomatically, but I believe that does give, I'll be honest, I think the reviewers would probably take that, well, I'm struggling how to say that. I believe that if you have that proven set of young people and demographics around who you have served, that might give you a leg up.
Next question is, can you provide a description of the application review and scoring rubric?
You have the, I don't think so.
Alrighty, next one. Can we use this funding for a program? Okay, I think we just answered that you are just starting. That is yes. What is the total funding pool? I think we said $1 million.
$1 million
Is there,
for the first year.
yeah.
Our organization has committed $1 million for funding in the first year, and absolutely has the intention to have it that amount for the second year.
As a minimum. Is there a more detailed description of the 5 strategies? Yes, so on the webpage, and I will post that again, on the webpage, it goes through each of the 5 and provides examples for those. So if you go to, actually, I will put it in the chat again. The next one is, does your organization need to already be a nonprofit or 501c3 to apply?
But you will need a fiscal agent that is to apply. So if you are not a nonprofit, you will need to find a fiscal agent that is.
All right. Can program 2 be programming being implemented? If so, how would you count daily attendance for program 2? So I guess this is a new program that may be starting and you may not have attendance.
If you are applying for a new program, the daily attendance, the cost of the program, the average daily attendance, cost of the program, and dosage are projected, right? You know, for this program, we are asking this much money because we want to serve 25 kids a day, you know, 3 days a week during the school year.
All righty, next is emergency housing for our youth program participants and eligible funding requests with these funds. So emergency housing for our youth program. I would think we would need to know more of what the outcomes are that you are looking for or working towards for the emergency housing. So there, you can have emergency housing that runs programs within that has some specific outcomes that may align with the 5 strategies. But I think that's more so going a little bit deeper in besides the general emergency housing.
The emergency housing, you know, we are funding programs, right? And, you know, you are applying for a program, you need to be descriptive of the program and talk about how it relates to those 5 approaches. You'll notice, you know, some of you who are experienced grant writers are going, well, where's the budget, TJ? Where's the budget? We don't ask, we part of trust-based philanthropy is funding programs, funding outcomes, and funding operation cost in not micromanaging how that money is spent.
All right, next one. Are there restrictions on applications after this year? Meaning, could organizations apply for this year, for this every year, or would they have to wait for a specific time period before applying again?
I do not believe there are restrictions on open RFP applications for Metro United Way. So if you apply for one, if another one opens, you can apply for it. This is 2-year funding, so the commitment is for the folks who receive funding this year, they will get funding next year. I cannot, the intention is that there's not another open application next year, but I cannot predict the future.
All right, got another question. Sorry, it looked like there was a zip code requirement where clients lived in certain zip codes on the initial page that I clicked on from that email. Is that correct?
I don't think so, because the only thing that you could have opened at this point in time is the credential request. If you've gotten into the RFP, then either you're a hacker or we made a mistake, because the RFP does not open until Monday.
Yeah, and the only zip code requirement, I believe, if there was any, would be for the, it has to be within the 7 counties that we serve. All right, next question. Will organizations be notified of awards?
The application closes on February 10th. To be honest with you, our review process doesn't even start until February 20th. Our reviewers have until March 2nd to submit their scores for applications they read. Then there is lots of processes to get recommendations to leadership. The community impact cabinets in each of the 7 counties will need to approve. The board of directors for Metro United Way will need to approve. Funding is targeted to start May 1st, Antonio. Award letters will go out in April. And for those that continuously ask, we are listening. We will actually send emails to folks who were not funded at the same time as we send snail mail award letters to those that were.
All right, next question. Does MEW have plans for any subsequent Youth Success RFP opportunities beyond this one? That was from Mr. Kevin Fields. Mr. Kevin Fields, we gotta practice self-care. These RFP opportunities are a lot of work behind the scenes. So having more than one is a beast. But if we get the capacity, like, we would definitely try to do that. But man, oh man, this is a lot of work. So right now, that is a no, but it is 2-year funding. But right now, no. But
Well,
please, go ahead.
And the other thing I think is pertinent, Kevin, is that we will absolutely be advocating for more resources and supports for our youth service organizations in each of our 7 counties. There is a possibility that money will become available, and this is important to know. The first folks that we would look at funding would be the folks that applied for this RFP that did not get funding. So, and that's the other thing, all of y'all, if you don't, it's honestly, it is going to be very competitive. I wish we could fund every one of you, but we will not be able to. But we will be always advocating for more money. Please, I know I can't help it. You're going to feel a way if you don't get funded, and I'm going to be there right with you. But we will also be advocating for funding for our youth serving organizations. If more money comes available, we will start with the folks at the top of the list that did not get funded. That is our commitment.
Ronnie, next question. Will the awards be paid in a lump sum or monthly?
Metro United Way grant award fundings typically happen like this. The total amount that you are funded for that year will be divided by 12, and you will get a monthly EFT deposit in your organizational bank account. But many folks who have had funding from Metro United Way know that we take specific requests based on need. If it, and especially if you get, you know, $5,000 a year, you can contact us and say, look, you know, $5,000 a year divided by 12 is like $600 a year. Can you just, I need that money right now. Can you send me the total lump sum? And we will say yes.
I believe that is all of the questions I see in the chat. And also this is being recorded, so we will send this out. If you registered to this, you will get the recording in the email that you registered with. And we will also try to put it on the on that landing page as well. We'll see if we can get it on there for a reference as well. Another question, is there a scoring rubric?
Of course, there is a scoring rubric. And this is my promise about a scoring rubric. It is based on the questions that we ask you in the application. No one will be judged on the reviewer's past knowledge of that organization. No one will be judged on information that we didn't ask for. The scoring rubric is 100% tied completely to the questions asked in the application.
Question, hard to explain via typing. In the past, how many organizations have been funded by pool this size? Well, what the what was it? Impact Innovation. It was like 1.2, and that was about 36 organizations.
Somebody wants to do the math in their head. Yeah. That's the closest kind of equivalent. It's similar to the same amount, 1.4 million, and the number of organizations that were funded was 36. There is no minimum amount. There is no maximum amount that you can request.
Is there a tier of funding?
Is there a tier of funding? I mean, are there tiers of funding? That's a really good question. Can you want to unmute to explain your what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of asking, like, is it like when it comes out, it's like we funded 10 organizations at the $5,000 level and 15 organizations at the $20,000 level and 2 organizations at, you know what I mean? Like, do you typically, when you fund at like in these types of grants, do you do it in like a tiered way?
Not exactly, really. I mean, the funding decisions are to a certain degree based on how much people ask and what is available. You know, one organization may ask for $25,000 and get $25,000. Somebody else might ask for $100,000 and get $60,000. You know, one of the things that we will be mindful of is organization. I mean, we will certainly use data from the application to help inform, you know, ultimate funding decisions, and you know, I think that's only it makes sense that we use data to inform funding. That's important to us because that's something that we're trying to get away from. In the historical model, oftentimes we had no idea why people got what amount. So, you know, size, reach, and you can see by the questions we asked dosage, right? In dosage, kind of has a reflection of the commitment to youth, but also to the capacity to serve those youth, right? So high dosage organization, it would make sense that they may get more funding than a low dosage organization if you are program. I hope that helps.
Alrighty. Next question, are the reviewers used from previous RFP applications?
I will say kind of a yes and no. The one thing I will tell you about our recruitment for reviewers for this grant application is we were committed to two different things for reviewers. One, that these people have knowledge and experience in both youth development and community-based programming, and two, diversity of our reviewers, right? That those things were important to us, and also that they have lived experience from the communities where grant applications are coming from. So all Indiana applications will be reviewed by folks from Indiana. All Bullitt County applications will be reviewed by folks from Bullitt County. All Jefferson County applications will be reviewed by folks from Jefferson County.
All right, next question, are enrollment numbers more important than dosage? If we have high dosage per student, but small students serve numbers?
And you guys are full of great questions. That one, they are both important, but also we will numbers of youth are important overall, but we are also, going to look at the context of the size of the organization. The one thing that we've learned in the last 10 years is that grassroots organizations may have a smaller reach, but they're just as good as our name brand organizations, and that their reach is actually much higher in our target population, if that makes sense.
All right, it's 12:59. If there is another question, we have time for one more. And if not, thank you all so much for your time. And like I said, we will send a recording of this to the emails that are registered for this. That will go out to you all once this recording is completed. And yeah, the application is open on Monday, January 23rd, all the way until February 10th.
Thank you, everyone.
All righty, thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.